So here we have a Harley Benton Fusion 3 guitar. This is the Bengal Burst version. This is one I've had and I've been playing for a while, but the only change I've done, well, I polished the frets basically using the tools I had to hand in London, and also I changed out these knobs because I thought they looked better. But I'm going to do a full mod on this guitar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change out the pickups. I've wound myself a pair of zebra pickups. I'm going to change the bridge for a Gotoh 510. I'm going to change the tuners for Gotoh. I'm going to change the string trees out for GraphTech, and I'm going to route in a space here so that the bridge can be set up for floating, just like the Sir Guthrie Govan model, and on the back I'm going to install a Tremol-No. So I'm also going to give the frets another once over and a bit of a polish. By the time I'm finished, I'm hoping that this guitar will be really, really well set up. The other thing I might do is just shim the neck very, very slightly so I can get the action really low. Now what I won't be doing is changing out the pots or the switch, and that's simply because they're already quite high quality and I like the switching the way it's set up, so I'm just going to keep all of that. I am, however, going to work on the cavities and I'm going to be putting in shielding paint. So, time to disassemble. Now let me show you an old luthier's trick, and that is to remove these bushings. All you have to do, and these are the bushings that hold the bridge in place. So all you have to do is pull out or unscrew the insert, and then you take a small piece of metal. In this case it's a screw where I've filed off the head, and then you put this back in, and what happens is this then pushes against the bottom of the cavity, allowing you to work upwards. There we go, and as I turn that you can probably see the bushing coming out nicely. Okay, scary time. This is where it could all go horribly wrong. What I'm going to do is route the top of this guitar. Let's give it a go. That looks like a pretty clean route to me. Now it's time to put conductive paint into the pickup cavities. I've got the pickups removed except for the middle pickup, which I'll just be keeping in, and what I'm going to be doing therefore is painting around it, so I've covered the cable just so I don't get paint on it. Alright, this conductive paint is called Noise Hell. Alright, let's give some love to the neck. First, we'll remove these string trees, and then let's get rid of these tuners. One nice thing about these is that they haven't been over tightened at the factory. Often you find that these things are, but these have been done, well, really just right. Just tight enough to hold them in place without being excessive. These are actually good quality tuners, and changing them out is really superfluous, but it's just that for the sake of doing a complete conversion, I thought I'd see what difference it made. And here we go. One stripped headstock. Okay, so this one goes in here. Right, there we are, a full set of Gotoh tuners. They look pretty cool, I think. Okay, now it's time to look at our string trees. All I'm doing here is cleaning up the fret ends. The frets themselves are fine and don't need any leveling. This is just taking away any excess material from the ends of the frets. Time for a bit of fret polishing. We've got one absolutely gorgeous, perfect fret. 23 to go. So, here we are. The neck is all done now. We've got our shim in place on the back. And this means that we are ready to reassemble the entire guitar. Just for a bit of fun, I've decided I'm going to try cutting out a base plate. So I've got a bit of iron here, and a hacksaw. Never done this before, but how hard can it be? So installing one of these is apparently quite simple. All you're supposed to do is take the base plate, which has been prepped with a ground wire, and put it on. And the idea is that the magnets will hold it in place, which they appear to be doing. And then all you have to do is solder the ground wire to the black lead, which I'm doing now. So here's our body, nice clean electronics cavity, and our pickups neatly installed. Now all we need to do is put on the bridge, and we're basically there. One thing I'm installing for the first time is this Tremol-No, which is a trem stopper, and I've been curious to try one of these for ages and ages, so let's give it a go. Alright, because there'll be adjustments, I imagine, what I'll do is I'll string it up first with some cheap strings. So here we are. The modding on this guitar is finished, and let's go over and see what we've done. Of course, I changed out these knobs, but that's something I did before. I changed out the tremolo. This is a Gotoh 510, and if you have a look, you can see it's now set up to be floating, so we can do bends in both directions, and you can see I've routed out a cavity around it, which I've then filled with black paint, and I've done an oil finish over the top of that. I've replaced the pickups, or at least I've replaced the bridge and the neck pickups. This is a 50mm, this is a 53mm, and they are, well, this is a slightly lesser wind, kind of PAF style, and this is a slightly heavier wind, so it's a more rock driven pickup. And then this middle pickup, I've added a base plate to it. I've also put more shielding paint in the cavities for better protection. So those are the things that are visible from the front. The thing that you won't be able to see, but I've done, is I also changed out the switch for a slightly heavier duty switch, because the one that was in there was having some problems. Okay, if we go to the back, you'll be able to see here a Tremol-No system, and I've put a cavity or an extra hole in the back plate here so that I can access the knobs. You can see that the bridge I've added a brass block to it, which is supposed to give greater sustain, and so far I've got to say it sounds amazing. All right, now aside from that, what else have I done? I've polished the frets, and I changed the string trees out for tusk, black tusk, and I changed the tuners out for genuine Gotoh locking tuners. So, aside from the fact that it's not a solid maple drop top, this guitar is more or less the same sort of spec as something like a Sir Modern, which is clearly what it was made to imitate. And I've played Sir Moderns, and this is honestly not that far off. Now, I'm going to do a proper sound check with this in a studio later on maybe, and I'll do a comparison between this and other guitars that I'm working on. But for now, I'll just give you an idea of what these pickups sound like. So there's some setup still to do on this guitar, but I should be able to give you a sort of basic idea of what it sounds like. This is the neck pickup. I always set up my guitars so when the switch is furthest away, that's the neck, that's the bridge. I do that because I spend a lot more time playing in the neck position. It's just the way I am. It's annoying for other people who pick up my guitars, but it serves them right, frankly. Okay, so this is the neck pickup. That's the one I wound. And then if we pull out, then we go to the next position, combining the neck and the middle. Nice and twangy, pull out. Cool. Middle pickup. That's really good and bitey. This doesn't do anything. Of course, because it's the middle pickup. Middle and bridge. Spanky. And with that pulled out, it's even more so. And then bridge. That's pretty good. I really like that. And then we pull out. So these pickups sound great. The trem works really well. I can really get much more extreme dives. It's not quite like a Floyd, but it's as much as I'm ever going to use. Okay, so this is the guitar, and I'm really happy with it.